Hi, it's Kia. Welcome to Hot Topics Live podcast, a special series that I'm going to do about dating as a woman in her 40s after not dating and being married for like 20 years, practically. Well, I didn't date for 20 years, but I was married for 13. And we're going to talk about dating, transforming your life, beginning again, all of that good stuff for people who have been married for a long time and now they find themselves divorced or divorcing. They don't know what to do, they don't know how to start. The entire landscape of dating is completely different. And you want to get back out there, but you don't know what to do, especially as a woman. So if you don't know me by now, my name is Kia. I am the creator and host of Hot Topics Live podcast and the Female Veterans podcast, as well as I am a performance coach. So I am going to bring that to this because I think to improve our performance in dating, we can use some of the same strategies and techniques. And the reason I'm doing this entire thing is because my therapist asked me to. Honestly, um, don't judge me. Therapy is good for you. So basically, she said to me that there are so many women, and without naming names, because she couldn't, obviously, but she said that are wanting to get back into the swing of the dating world, but they don't know where to start. And hey, Erica. Hey, Bougie. Hi, sweetie. So if you want to participate in the show, you have to watch it live. This is a special live. I'm just doing a quick one just to introduce this topic and just dive in and tell you why I'm doing it. Like I said, it's because my therapist asked me to. She said women needed it. And I think men need it too. I love men. Don't get it twisted. I have two sons, and I actually have a huge opinion about the way of this divide between men and women is being perpetuated and division is caused. And we know what happens when we're divided. We fall, right? So I believe in strengthening those relationships and building men up and building women up and letting us be what we need to be for each other. And that's a team, right? Play to your strengths, work together, and things will get better. But let's get back to the topic. The topic today is getting back into dating after you haven't been dating for a really long time. If you're like me, you might be in your mid 30s, you might be in your late 30s, you might be in your 40s, maybe even your 50s. And this is for you if you're in any one of those age groups, you have been in a long term relationship and it's ended. And now you have to restart your life, reinvent yourself, and you just don't know what to do. You're trying to figure out, where do I begin? What do I do? Do I go on dating apps? How do I meet people? And I think for a lot of women, we don't know, like, there's so much to it. We don't know what we should do with ourselves because we gave so much of ourselves to our partners and to our kids. And if you have them, I have two. I have two boys. And you give so much of yourself and you don't know how to begin. And that's what I'm good at because I'm great at reinventing myself. So I'm going to share that with you. But first, I have to tell you the backstory, honey. So I met my kid's dad um, when I was 29 years old, right? And we got pregnant quickly. We were together for 13 years, and I was a stay home mom. And I was devoted to caring for the home, for my husband, for my children. And then one day, my marriage came to an abrupt halt. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a job. We had just bought a house. We just had created this life. And suddenly, all of it was gone. And it was gone in an instant. It wasn't like we had problems, right? But I would have worked through them. I wanted to work through them. And I figured we could make it. We could make it and grow old together. And that's what I wanted. That's what I've always wanted. By the way, I've been married twice. Okay. That's what I've always wanted. But it hadn't happened for me. And because of this problem that arose in our marriage, that from one day to the next caused me to want to leave it, I had to start really diving deep internally and figuring out what did I need to do in order to change my life? Okay, so a lot of people may not have that situation where they're a stay-home parent and they they don't have a career. I think it's maybe a little bit easier if you have a career because you already have that in place. But there's so much healing that has to happen after you get a divorce. And it can be a very lonely, almost like a desperate place that you're in. It can feel very dark, especially for men, oddly enough. For men, it can be even worse than women because they're been used to this woman like running everything, like being pretty much the CEO of life and keeping the home and taking care of them, and suddenly, they don't know where anything is. You're always telling your husband where stuff is and whatnot, right? Like, they need that. They're used to that, and suddenly they're left in this new, strange, foreign world too to fend for themselves. And as women, we're lost because we don't remember the person we were before a lot of times, and not everybody, it's, not everybody, but if this speaks to you, if it resonates, right? Like, you can give of yourself so much to a connection and to your children that it swallows you up and you just don't even know who you are. You don't remember that vibrant, sexy, amazing woman that you were. A lot of times we're not even putting makeup. We're not that you have to put makeup, but I'm talking about like fixing yourself up, whatever that means to you. Like doing your hair up nice, getting your nails done if that's you. I do, right? Or just it's what you're wearing, right? You may not even know like what style you like anymore, like what fashions you're into anymore or whatever. So it's like that. Like you're completely lost. So many years have gone by. Some people have been married for 20 years and then you're divorced. The entire dating landscape has changed. Now there's online dating. Do you do online dating? Do you just try to meet people? How do you meet people anymore? How do you make connections anymore? Everybody's married. It feels like everybody's married. And if you're like me, then you probably heard things like it's so hard for a woman after 40 who's going to want a woman with 2 kids. It's going to be impossible for you to date. Like, it's just hard out here. There's no good men, which I do not believe. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. You might have to kiss a lot of frogs. You'll find one. It's the law of averages. If you know that law, you're going to be fine. And I will share it with you if you don't know it very soon. We'll dive into that a little bit further. But you have to look at what's out there now, and it can be so overwhelming. And with all the conversation that's going on social media and everywhere about men and women and all of that, that plays a part too. It can be really, really frightening to get back out there and put yourself out there. I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you for watching. This is my first episode in a limited series about dating after being in a long-term relationship. And thank you for watching. So that's basically where I'm starting from, right? So I have this experience, and a little bit about me, a little bit more story time about me is I got into performance coaching in 2019, and I have coached thousands of people through the London Real Academy with Brian Rose. You may have heard of him with a little show called London Real. You can see it on londonreal.tv. You can find out about the academy I coach at there. But I've coached so many people, all different types of people from all around the world, all different ages, all different countries. Like, so I have experience in dealing with people, right? And helping them to break through barriers, to transform, and to shift their mindset. So those are the things that I love. All right. Um, and in fact, spoiler alert, I am creating a coaching package for men who are starting a business or scaling a business. It's probably going to launch next year. But if you are a man who wants to coach with a woman, it's a different feeling. My style of coaching and what I do. If you felt unsupported, it's kind of like a feminine energy coaching, but it works and it will help you build your business and scale it to the next level. So that's coming. That's coming. But I'm working on it and it won't come out until next year. I told you I love men. I want to see you succeed. But I also love the ladies, my sisters, my soul tribe. And I want to help you because getting out into the dating world can be really, really scary after you've been entrenched in momdom and or working momdom. So you've been working and taking care of your kids and taking care of your husband, and suddenly you find yourself single and you're over 40 or in your late 30s and you are not feeling maybe as sexy as you used to. How do you get that back? How do you get that back? So let's go back to story time. Okay. So it's 2018 and I've split up with my husband, or I'm about to, and we were actually going through counseling. And I decided that I needed to shift my paradigm. I'd heard that from Joe Dispenza, and he was on a podcast called Impact Theory. I don't know if you know of it, but I was watching this podcast, right? And I was laying in bed because I was super depressed because I was just like 13 years, right? 13 years of marriage. I was a stay home mom. I never like, I prioritized everything above myself, right? And I know a lot of people can relate to that. Like, and I just was gone. And I kept thinking I have all these degrees and I'm not using them, right? And I'm like the maid. I can remember so clearly. I felt dragged by Ali Wong. She did a special on Netflix and she was talking about marriage and stuff like that. And I was a couple days later, I was cleaning the counters in my kitchen and I was thinking, and it was like probably the third or fourth time I'd done it that day. And swept the floor and like all of this for my kids and everybody. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I have all these degrees. I have 4 degrees and I'm the maid. I don't know if anyone else felt like that. Being a stay home mom is a difficult, hard job. It is a thankless job. And we do it because we love our families and we should be honored and respected and cherished for doing that job, right? But it doesn't always happen that way. And so I remember watching some months later, watching this because I was depressed and I felt like my marriage, it was over, but I was trying, you know what I mean? I was trying one last try because you never want to give up your marriage. You want to try to make it work. Even if it's not working, you're trying so hard. And I just thought, I have to change. I need to do something different. You know, I need to figure this out for me and for my kids because I knew if we split up, which I was pretty sure we were going to do by then, that my kids would stay with me. And so I had to figure out a career and I had to figure out, and I'd left corporate years ago. And I was like, wow, I have to go back to work and I have to, have to figure this out. And it was scary. And the last thing on my mind was dating, actually. The last thing on my mind was dating, but I knew that eventually I was gonna need to get back out there because I am a hopeless romantic, you guys. And I have been married twice and I'll do it again for the right person, right? Because I will keep trying. I'm persistent. And I think the only way you truly fail is if you give up. And so for me, it's not an option to give up on love and partnership and true companionship and finding that best friend that you can have great sex with and that you can just love and have fun with and laugh with and do things with, that you're interdependent, right? Like they do their thing, you do your thing, and then you do things together and it's awesome, right? It's a great dream and I'll never give up on it. So I'll probably get married again. And I knew that I would be dating eventually, but I had no idea how to start. So laying in bed, watching Joe Dispenza, he was talking about something called shifting your paradigm, which means changing your reality, which is just, it sounds complicated and it can be tricky, but it's just making a series of decisions that take you from A to B, right? That take you from where you are now to where you want to go. And the first thing you have to do is have a vision and really like go within yourself and think, what is it that I want my life to look like? It's that simple. What do I want my life to look like realistically? Okay, maybe even a little delusionally. Okay, what do I want my life to look like? Who do I want to look like? What do I want to be like? And I know you may or may not have heard of this thing called hashtag becoming her, or becoming him, but it's about becoming the person that you envision in your mind, right? Who do you want to be? So if you go to my Instagram at Creativity, you scroll down, you can see my evolution there, right? I used to always wear my hair black. Now I'm bright blonde. I never ever thought in my life I'd be this blonde. I didn't even envision this, but it's what I evolved into once I started the process of evolution. And sitting there, I was like, I'm going to change my life. And it started with that decision, that choice. And then I said, okay, now that I know that I'm going to change my life, I'm going to start taking small actions towards that. And I didn't know what was going to happen. But honestly, once you open yourself up, you start to get the signs and you start to see things that interest you. When you start to realize who you were and remember who you were before you married that person, like sometimes it's like you go back into an old photo album and you start looking at pictures of yourself. You start calling up your old friends and start reminiscing with them about the crazy stuff you used to do, right? And you start to remember who you were. And there's this line in a movie called Sisters. It's Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, right? And they're these two sisters, and they throw a party at their childhood home. It's so funny if you're into that kind of thing. And they have this incredible line, and it talks about being that you, be that you, they say. And they're talking about the you that you were in high school. Well, that was their glory days or whatever, whenever your glory days were. Maybe it was college, maybe it was the Navy, like me, maybe it was your late 20s or your mid 30s or early 30s or whatever. But whenever it was that you felt your best and most like alive and sexiest, and you were feeling like you could rule the world, I guess, right? Go back to that time and remember who the F you were. That's where it begins. Remember what you like to do. Remember what you were getting into. Remember what your friends were doing. Remember what you were wearing. Remember all of that stuff and start bringing that back. It starts there. And then decide, like, if you don't feel sexy anymore, you've got to change that. If there is something that you don't feel good about yourself, you have to change that. You have to do it. So if that means I am for anything that you can do to make yourself feel good about you. If that means you need to go get some Botox, go get it. I don't really get down with fillers, but if that's you, that's you. I know people who do their lips or whatever, it makes them feel a little sexier, do it. Because when you feel that feeling, that's the first thing of getting yourself back, right? Of bringing yourself back to life. Because that's the first thing you have to do if you're going to start dating. You have to bring yourself back to life. You have to start healing from that heartbreak of that divorce. You have to. You have to do the work. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to do the work on healing yourself. So if that
Mhm.
means you need to go to therapy, like me, go to therapy. You know why I go to therapy? Because I'm a child abuse survivor. And there's a lot of wounding that comes with growing up with two mentally ill caregivers. And so I had to go within and start healing those inner child wounds, because if you don't, when you're dating, you won't show up as your best self. And you might meet a wonderful person and lose them because you are unhealed from things that happened in your childhood. I mean, you hear all this talk about attachment theory. If you don't know what it is, please go on YouTube and Google it, or look it up on YouTube or Google it, right? Attachment theory is important. Emotional intelligence is important. Fellas, gentlemen, if you are watching this at any point, study emotional intelligence. Learn about attachment theory. You will show up better for good women. There are good women out here. I know, because I'm one. Okay. There are not only crazy women out here. All right. There are unhealed women and there's unhealed men. So that's why my first advice is start reclaiming you, and then heal. Start healing. You don't have to be fully healed to meet someone amazing, by the way. You can be healing as long as you're willing to do the work. You guys can heal together, right? But first, again, reclaim you. What do you want to look like? Do you want to be blonde? Go do it. Do you want to change your eye color? I have brown eyes, but they're blue right now. You know what? It makes me feel like a doll. So, and it's the feeling, because that feeling inside you of feeling beautiful and fun and sexy will come out, and it's attractive. It's attractive energy, right? So it'll help your dating. So this whole little series is starting with this very first episode, and it's about how to start dating again after divorce. And so the first 2 points is finding yourself, right? Thank you, Erica. I love you. Mwah. So, finding yourself, right? Finding yourself again. You have to reinvent yourself. So, you're going to find yourself. You're going to start thinking about, who do I want to be? What do I want my new life to look like? You know, what do I want to dress like? What do I want to smell like? What do I want to taste like? Have you fallen off the gym? Get back in the gym. The first thing, most important thing you can do is work your body out. And if you don't like the gym, go for a walk. I started ice skating. I love ice skating. I started ice skating when I was 11 at boarding school, Milton Hershey School. Shout out to MHS. And I loved it. And I started doing it again. That's part of reclaiming who I am, right? What are things you used to love to do that you don't do anymore? Are any of them athletic? Can you move your body? If you move your body, Tony Robbins says, you will change your state, your emotional state. So if you're especially depressed because your relationship is falling apart and you're divorced now and you're trying to pick yourself back up, the first thing you need to do is start moving your body. Start moving your body. And if you are over 40, you want to add in stretching. There are places you can get professionally stretched, but if you're tight on money, then start stretching. There's tons of YouTube videos, right? Do some yoga at home or just stretch out. And mobility training. You will thank me later. as you're getting older, if you do mobility training, okay, you will thank me at any age. If you've stumbled on this video and you're like 20, do mobility training. Just do it your whole life. You'll thank me for it. Okay. Mobility training, moving your body, and then discovering like what do I like? What do I want? What do I start rediscovering that? I remember this one movie, I think it was The Runaway Bride. She didn't even know how she liked her eggs. If you haven't seen that movie, it's an old one with Julia Roberts. And she would always date men, and whatever the way they ate their eggs, she would eat her eggs. And she had no idea how she preferred to eat eggs. And, it's a true story for a lot of women and maybe even some men too. Like you have just enmeshed with your partner. You have lost your own identity. And that's probably part of the reason why the marriage isn't working or didn't work. Right. So start rediscovering yourself. All right. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up here, but I will be back next week and we're going to talk some more about the next part. All right. So if you're here, thank you for watching. Remember to start rediscovering yourself. Start envisioning what life could look like for you. A new life. Like this is zero. This is the fool, like the fool's journey. This is the starting point, right? You can create anything. Just imagine you can create anything for yourself. You have a brand new, fresh beginning, and you can be anything you want. You can look any way you want. You can do anything you want. Okay. And if you don't believe me, just pretend for now. All right. Just fake it till you make it. Okay. Be delusional, as they say in Lucky Girl Syndrome or Lucky Boy Syndrome. And just start thinking about what it is you want your life to look like and what you want to look like and what makes you feel good. Okay. What would that be? How could you be that you, right? That you used to be? Like incorporate that awesome young version of you in with the new, older, wiser version. How can you bring those two together? And then start moving your body. Start moving your body and start thinking about the things that you don't like about you and how you can improve them. And above all, find a coach, find a therapist, find a mentor, get a support group to help you heal, to help you heal. Oh, honey, you are the best. I super appreciate you for tuning in. As always, if you want to be a part of the show, you have to leave a comment and let me know. You can always follow me on Instagram, listen to Hot Topics Live podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Watch all the live streams. There's tons of live streams that are recorded. You can watch the replay. Get familiar. Follow Hot Topics Live podcast on Instagram. Like, share, subscribe. If you felt this, give me a like. It's free. It will help me to get this out to more people who have broken up, who have lost themselves in relationships, or who are divorcing and they haven't been in the dating game for like 20 years. We're going to start diving into these topics of reinventing yourself, of shifting your mindset, of creating that resilience in dating, of getting on those dating apps, of meeting people. And I'm going to share all of my crazy, crazy experiences that I've had since I started dating again. And I will tell you, after my divorce, I spent 5 years single healing. You don't have to do it that long, but definitely take that time to heal because you're going to need that healing strength when you get on those dating apps and you get yourself back out there. So anyways, I'll be back next week. Join me live if you want to be a part of the show. Erica, I love you. I love you so much. And everybody for watching that was silent and didn't comment, I appreciate you. Hit the like, subscribe, and set your notifications so you know when I come live. I love you. I'll see you next time.